So sometimes we're feeling low or vulnerable or insecure or depressed, and someone we don't know or someone we know, well, walks right into the heart of that mess we're in and says something or does something that sets us off spinning even more. It's all good to say that people can't make us feel anything unless we allow them to, and that is the truth. A person can't drive you crazy or make you happy unless you open yourself to those feelings. Nonetheless, when we're already feeling tested or fragile or down, we're not going to be in a place where it is easy to direct our energy or focus our minds on what we know in our hearts to be true. Namely, that another person's envy or misplaced rage has nothing to do with us. It's hard not to take things personally when we're already walking through the fire. When you're spiraling or feeling confused, ashamed, guilty, or anxious, the best thing you can do is open to it. That isn't what we're taught, and it might feel weird, but the more you try to run from or deny your feelings, the more you try to make them go away or numb them out, the harder they'll push to come to the surface. The best way to stop the spinning is to sit down in the eye of the storm, because from that point you can see that you are not your thoughts. There are a lot of things we think sometimes that are just absolute garbage. Sometimes we're getting some kind of payoff, and from the center of the whirlwind, you might find the space to be honest with yourself about that. Is it easier to feed the idea that you're a victim, or that there's something broken about you, than it is to pick yourself up and get to work? If you are doing something that isn't serving you, listen. If you are doing something that is not serving you, there's some kind of benefit, even if it isn't immediately obvious. And I'm not talking about depression here, so please don't misunderstand me. I'm talking about repeating patterns or ways of being or thinking that you already know bring you nothing but pain. Maybe you're punishing yourself. Maybe you've hurt people in your past and you feel like you deserve to be treated badly. Maybe you're lying to yourself. Maybe about what you want. Maybe you're terrified of screwing up, so you're paralyzed. It's all okay. Seriously, this business of being human is a messy job for most people. At least at some time or another, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be honest with yourself about where you have to work. You know, assuming you want to be happy. And that might seem like an obvious thing, right? I mean, who doesn't want to be happy? But I can look in my rearview mirror and remember times when I wanted to be angry more than I wanted to be happy. Times when I was more invested in my story than I wasn't changing it. Shame is debilitating, you know, and it won't get you far. In fact, it'll keep you stuck and deplete you of the energy you need to do things differently. Try to let it go. Be where you are and have some compassion for yourself. If everything is a mess, believe me, it's not because you suck at being human. It's because you probably have some unlearning to do. When we make a mess of things, it's because we lack the tools to not make a mess of things. And if we lack the tools, it's because they weren't taught. Relationships of any kind require some tools. Communication is a huge one, as is the ability to listen with your heart and not with the burning desire to be right. Intimacy is terrifying for some people because because maybe their past experience of love involved smothering or lack of control. No one likes to feel powerless or imprisoned. But if those are your fears about real love and relationships, wow, love does not imprison you. It frees you. Real love frees you. You don't have to keep feeding a story about why you are the way you are, because it doesn't really matter. And you aren't set in stone. Is it harder to have to unlearn and relearn something than it is to learn it well the first time? Is it? Of course. But it easier to stay stuck than it is to unstick yourself? I really don't think so. Figure out the tools you need to dig, because time doesn't stop and wait for anyone. Choose happiness over anger. Choose compassion over shame. There's no formula for healing, but that's a solid foundation for anyone. I'm sending you tons of love.